engineers at Purdue University know who discovered the cell and the microscope, and if they know when it was discovered. So let's check it out. Hey, can I ask you a question? Yeah, this is our top engineer. So do you know who discovered the cell?
I don't.
And you know the time frame of when it was discovered?
1600?
1600s, not bad, not bad.
Hey there, Emily. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure thing.
All right. Do you know who invented the microscope?
Albert Einstein?
All right. Good enough. And then do you know when it was invented?
I don't know, like the 1300s.
Engineers.
Since our engineering students really didn't know who discovered the cells and microscope, we're gonna go to our top nursing students.
Because they love their science.
Here we go. Hello, top nursing students. We got a couple questions for you. Do you have any idea who discovered the cell?
Robert Hooke.
Wow! Oh my! Do you know when he discovered it?
1745.
1745, folks. There we have it.
All right, now we're going to ask the best kind of students. Elementary ed. Hey there, Alyssa. Can you tell me, do you know when the microscope was invented? No.
Oh, because do you know who could have invented it?
A scientist.
That's a good answer. We are definitely smarter than all.
Wow, Emma.
People
crazy.
really don't understand what these things are, but they have impacted our lives so much and we don't even realize
You're
it.
so right.
Today we're gonna find out.
Who discovered the cells in the microscopes and when they were discovered?
Let's learn.
Hi guys. Today we're going to learn about cell discovery. So the person that actually discovered the cell was Robert Hooke, and he discovered the cell in 1665. So some of our guesses were a little close in the 16 and 1700s. He used it by actually using the microscope, which we're going to learn about a little bit later. And fun fact, he was actually observing a dead plant cell, which he saw looked like little rooms called cellula, and so that's why it got its name of a cell. During this time period, the Black Plague was going on. In 1665, 2/3 of London was evacuated because of the Black Plague. And if you think about it, if we knew more about cells, maybe we could have cured it.
Maybe.
So now we're going to talk about why this discovery was so important. This discovery was a major breakthrough in biology. His findings were actually published in Microscope, which was really important during the time. Later, in 1674, the first person to observe a live cell was Anton von Leeuwenhoek. And because Robert Hooke discovered the dead cell, it was really interesting that Anton discovered a live plant cell. So now the important part for all of us teachers is how to actually apply this in the classroom. So if we're looking at elementary K through 6, obviously cells are a really complex topic, so they can be introduced at younger ages, but really dug more deep into in 5th and 6th grade. If you're looking to work with younger grades, I recommend using literacy to introduce cells. There's a book called Enjoy Your Cells, which introduces cells to children in a basic way, which just pretty much tells kids that cells are the building blocks of everything and goes on to say what they're in, how they work, and just a basic introduction to cells. A way that you can work with maybe 4th, if they're ready for it, 5th and 6th grade, is by actually using a microscope and placing either an onion or other types of things that you can observe under the microscope and see if they can see basic things like the cell wall, how it works, what it looks like, and they can observe these findings. After they do that, they can take their findings and observations and actually create a model. I think the best way to do this is a hands-on 3D model, which can be done out of multicolored Play-Doh, different types of foods. They can be really creative with it and do a cell city, which I remember from my science classes. And there's a bunch of different ways, but I think one of the best ways is to use an actual hands-on diagram 3D model of the cell.
So now we're going to talk about the microscope. So although there were many uncertainties about who actually invented the microscope, a lot of important people played a major role in the development of all of them. One was named Zacharias Janssen. All the way back to the 1st century, when glass was first invented, the Romans were investigating the use of glass and how viewing objects through it made the objects appear bigger. They discovered that if you held the lenses over an object, the object would appear bigger. These early lenses were called magnifiers or burning glasses. Then in the 13th century, the first eyeglass was created. The earliest simple forms of magnification were magnifying glasses, usually about 6 times or 10 times larger, and were used for inspecting tiny insects such as fleas, which is why these magnifiers were called flea glasses. But then during the 1950s, Zacharias Jensen and his father started experimenting with the lenses. They put several lenses together near a tube and made a very important discovery. The object near the end of the tube appeared to be greatly enlarged, much larger than any simple magnifying glass could achieve by itself. This was a huge discovery by Jansen and his father that was used for a long time. But then another man came in the 17th century who also created another, more advanced microscope. His name was Antony van Leeuwenhoek, which Emma said before. He made his own simple microscopes which had a single lens and were handheld. He achieved greater success than all of the others by developing ways to make superior lenses, grinding and polishing small glasses into a lens with magnifications up to 270 times. He used these lenses to make the world's first practical microscope. The microscope is a device that magnifies objects or organisms that are too small to see with the naked eye. A milestone in the science world, the microscope has had an enormous influence on the development of modern medical science, forensics, and environmental science. The invention of the microscope has revolutionized the science industry while developing other fields. Now doctors can diagnose and treat diseases better, scientists are able to reveal links that help put criminals behind bars, and even make our world safer by examining the strength of bridges and other structures. Using a microscope in the classroom can be a very educational yet fun activity for the students. It features hands-on learning, involves doing, seeing, thinking, questioning, and discussing, and raises early interest in some students for becoming a scientist. Students can have fun using a microscope to get a close view of objects such as hair, water, an onion, a small quark, and much more, and take observations of what they see. This will help them practice recording and writing their observations down. Microscopes can help students gain knowledge of the world around them and show them how fun and interesting and exciting science can be.